Hi, welcome to the Module 4 of the Data Migration Framework course. I am Krupesh Desai, your trainer for this course and the author of the book Data Migration Framework. In this training, we will learn about the last component of the framework called post migration. Many migration failures happen after the go live, not during. After all the excellent work for over a year or two, you will eventually execute the cutover. But guess what? You are not done yet. And it's too soon to call a success. Things could go south after the go live as well. Therefore, the practical advice is to be ready for surprises and have robust contingency plans to control your anxiety and excitement. In the first video of this course, we looked at this example of data migration gone south when migrating 5 million plus customer accounts to a new platform. When you look into this case study, you will find that there were issues and gaps in how data migration was managed. But another key factor of this disaster was how post migration monitoring was ignored, which eventually led to a catastrophic failure with stolen funds, 300 million plus pounds in losses, reputational damage, and eventually the resignation of the CEO. Those with the phased migration and subsequent planned cutover will undergo one more iteration stage. New business rules will be required to manage partial business operations running on the new system from a specific date and time. Business units or areas parked for the next cutover may disclose never before seen data quality issues or new integration dependencies. You would have one more opportunity to learn from the last experience and avoid making the same mistakes while defining the iteration goals for the next cutover. However, be it phased or big bang, in this session, we will look at key activities post migration, which are mostly applicable to both approaches. If everything goes smoothly, as per the go live run sheet, you still need to be vigilant and operate the target system under the hypercare mode for at least next 24 to 72 hours with the right people readily available to support, escalate, and resolve any functional issue. Smooth data migration during the cutover is the primary success of the people behind data migration. However, I would at least wait for a week from the cutover to call data migration successful, given that no adverse situation has arisen in the target system or downstream integrations or any business processes due to glitches in the data migration. Here, I want to include Lars's checklist to highlight key activities for continuous monitoring post migration, which includes ongoing monitoring of the new system, setting up alerts for critical errors and ensuring immediate attention, proactive monitoring with user feedback on any data accuracy issue to eventually make sure all the problem or glitches are handled swiftly. Post data migration, legacy data archival and purging are critical areas to address as well. With data archival task park after the successful data migration and legacy decommissioning, the objective is to ensure the data retention policies and guidelines are adhered to. You must ensure that whatever legacy data business needs is available and accessible in the new system while unnecessary data is purged. Necessary historical data within the data retention needs can be made available in the new system with two possible methods. One, you develop an on-demand data migration to extract and transform particular subset of the legacy data when required in the new system. And second, you migrate all required historical data into the new system post cutover. The first method would require access to legacy data in the source database or some data extract in terms of CSV dumps. If access to the proprietary legacy database is gone with the decommissioning. This is out of this scope of this particular training because implementing such solution is a project on its own, which requires substantial efforts to build and manage such a solution. The second method can be a practical choice for many organizations, where you switch off the legacy system and retain the legacy data in the target system. When choosing the second method to avail the historical data in the new system, a data migration process can be split into two parts, active and inactive, or open and closed, to denote current and past transaction. Migrating only active data for current business transactions on the cutover day can minimize the decommissioning downtime by avoiding large volumes of legacy data for inactive transaction, which your users would not need immediately. In such cases, ensuring successful migration of required historical data after the cutover is essential before the legacy system can be retired for good. I remember implementing this second option in my migration projects, where we split the data within the migration scope in active and inactive data, where the current transactions and last 3 years of data were our active data that we must migrate on the cutover day because users would need them immediately in the target system. Whereas by regulation, we had to migrate last 10 years of data. So we parked the year 4 to year 10 as an inactive data and migrated it after a fortnight. This way, we had all the data necessary by law and regulation in the target system, and unnecessary data were purged with the retirement of the legacy system. The show must go on for many businesses, including healthcare. You can't turn down a patient in an emergency because you are updating your patient management system. In such cases, paper based processes are implemented as temporary measures to keep the lights on for business as usual during the system downtime for the data migration. If you are in such 24/7 business operations, carefully plan your processes on paper during the downtime for data migration and ensure the right timing for manually loading paper trails back into the new business application once it is live. The next is supporting business users. And this is your key change management moment. Business users habitual with the blue screen UI of the legacy system, subconscious keyboard mastery, and applying brute force on the enter key. They will need your support with the futuristic mouse based user interface in front of them to figure out where and how legacy data is migrated, on which screen, and under what menu. You can coordinate with trainers or super users of the target system to support users with data migration related inquiries. I recommend building some knowledge base or documentation for frequently asked questions. Along with the business users, you must also support other business stakeholders with data analysis and report writing needs. For ad hoc analysis to producing operational reports, expect questions and inquiries from your data and analytics tribe, with similar questions on where and how legacy data is migrated, to which schema and what tables. Note that having an endorsed data migration plan with references to approved business rule will definitely assist you in promptly supporting both type of user inquiries, that is business users and your analytics team. So, to quickly summarize, I would say you have moved from point A to point B successfully. Now manage your jet lag well to regain your routine life. Leverage this last component of the framework to set up clear SLAs for post migration support, identify key resources for the downtime and hypercare period, and define criteria to declare data migration as a success. And here is the set of questions for the last component. Thank you for participating in this training. We have covered all the components of the framework. I hope you found this journey fruitful and you will use the knowledge gained in this training in your project. In the next module, we are going to look into running an actual project with this framework. So please continue on the next module as well. Thank you.